Hello. This is about my thoughts, some of my thoughts on dress codes, student dress codes. When I was in high school, almost 100 years ago, we fought, it was mostly, as I remember I had a lot of trouble because I was trying to grow or starting to grow my hair longer, and it couldn't be over your ears or over your collar, and they would, in some cases, throw you out of school, and my mother had to come in and fight for me, which was appreciated but mostly really embarrassing. And I don't know what they did with the girls. I have a feeling, in retrospect, and I've not talked to women that I went to high school with, which was 1966 to 1970, but at some point I'm going to ask them if there were dress codes that they encountered. Again, there must have been, because we've always tried to control girls and women and humiliate them and make them blame them if in a worst case, if they are sexually assaulted. So, but dress codes, it just wasn't on my radar. So I was talking to the dean of students at a large, very wealthy private boarding school in New England. I was going to go. I had sent out a mailing. They were responding, and we were talking about content. So with the boys, I was going to talk to the juniors and senior boys. I said, "What would you like me to talk about? Because I don't want to repeat the things you've said." He first said, "We've never talked to them about sexual assault. We've never talked to them broadly about sexual ethics." But the thing that he thought was most important was that every year the senior boys kind of divvy up the first year incoming girls and kind of just go right through them. And, you know, they're fresh meat is how the boys charmingly put it. So I said, you've not talked to them about this? You know that 18 and 13 or 14 is a sexual assault by the laws of Massachusetts. Well, no, and that's why we're bringing you, okay. So we talked about that some, and I told them things I would talk about. My point is not just that, you know, everybody else but me is a fool and I'm just one of the nicest guys alive. But so I said, okay, what about the girls? This would be the junior and senior girls in a separate session. And I said, what do you want me to talk to them about? I said, should I talk to them that they are mostly survivors because of how they were treated as first years? No, 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 no. Okay, what? And he said, could you talk to them about their clothes? And I said, what? I said, I clean up okay, but I'm not an expert in clothes. And what would I tell girls about their clothes? I don't know anything. And he said, well, this was the early mid-90s, 1990s. He said, well, we've got it's the Britney Spears look, you know, they roll up their skirts so they're high and maybe, you know, crop their tops so that, you know, you can see their belly buttons, I don't know. And I said, what's the problem with that? As I was starting to get where he was coming from, even if he didn't want to say it, I said, what's the problem? He said, well, it's really hard for some of the boys to concentrate. I said, so I get to talk to the younger boys as well as the older boys, right? To help them concentrate. Well, yeah, if this goes well, yeah. And I said, but there was clearly an elephant in the room and I had to press it. And I said, what's really the problem? He said, well, some of the male teachers have a really hard time also concentrating. And I said, ding, 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 ding. This is the problem. I said, do I get 6 months with the male teachers when I'm at your school for 2 days? I said, if the male teachers are ambivalent about these high school girls or are giving them really clear messages that, you know, their bodies are causing those poor male teachers to stare at them and say things and possibly touch them, there's the huge problem. Boys are responsible for what they do, but it felt to me like there was like the papa goose, and he's standing there in the hallway in the doorway. The girls come by, he's staring at them very inappropriately, and all the little gosling boys are standing behind, and they're learning that that's how men relate to women. That's normal, that's good. I didn't talk about I didn't talk to them about their clothes. I figure there's enough people giving them mixed messages. In Men Stopping Rape, I learned that it is not, and certainly other feminist writings, it is not the victim's fault if they are sexually assaulted. It has nothing to do with what they did, what they wore, what they said, what they didn't say, any of that. And so the whole notion of problems and the things in the articles, the hundreds of articles that I've collected online in the last 5, 8, 10 years about dress codes, a 9-year-old girl told to cover up because she's wearing, you know, it wasn't even a spaghetti strap, but she's 9 years old. But in a system that is desperate to privilege boys by never, ever, ever, ever giving them any instruction on how to act and how not to act, harassing the girls is predictable and normal and hideous. And so many of them, this has been noted by the girls themselves and women watching this, but they, you know, this stuff has been, when they're telling girls, you know, they say it directly. You're making the boys be unable to control themselves. The boys are unable to do anything else but look at you and say things and possibly touch you. That's just ugly. And I could go further. If you have questions or comments, aim them, negative comments, aim at somebody else. But if you have any questions or comments, please direct them to me, and I will respond in perhaps a further video. Thank you.